just taking off that extra bit of moisture by air drying it for 14 days and then allowing it to equalise for another 14 days in the fridge. You get that 28-day age. It doesn't dry out completely. You have to trim a little bit off the outside to give you the final sort of meat that you want before you actually stick it in the pan. But there we go. That's ready to eat and it tastes delicious. Right, let's get this pan on. Into the pan. And we're going to allow this to sear off. So we're going to do the fat first. We're going to get this fat nicely melted in.
Before we lay the meat down flat in the pan, we want to render the fat on the edges to give it a lovely colour. I use a little salt on both sides of the meat just to give it a bit of seasoning. And to flavour the oil in the pan, I add garlic, thyme and rosemary.
So we really only want this garlic to flavour the oil, to flavour that lard.
Remove the garlic before it becomes bitter. I like the herbs to be in contact with the meat so you get that flavour infusing. Basting the meat like this ensures you get maximum flavour on this finished piece of beef. Okay, the herbs have done their job, we can now remove them. Right, we're nearly there with the meat. We're just going to turn it over once more. Check that colour, give it another quick baste, and then we're nearly done.
Now I'm going to probe this meat at its thickest point, and I want to obviously make sure that that gets right there. And you'll see we're not there yet. That's 17 degrees Celsius, so you can see how cold that is in the centre. It's still getting colder, it's 15 degrees now. Obviously, because this meat's been in the fridge, and you know, even with the temperatures and the heat we've got going on here, it's still going to take quite a while for that temperature to come through. So as soon as that beeps, we're ready to go. So I'm going to stick this in the oven, and this is where I need about 3 pairs of hands. So that's all good. Right, unsticking that. There we go. Go straight in the oven. Close that up there, and we stick that on the side. And we'll come back to that when the buzzer goes off. So you can see the meat's now been in the oven for about 15 minutes. And if we look at the temperature gauge already, you can see we're up to 50 degrees Celsius. So, as soon as that reaches 52, which it will do in a second, we'll whip this out the oven and crack on with it. We're at 52 degrees internal temperature. We'll turn the oven off. More importantly, we'll get this out. I'm going to set it for 58 degrees Celsius. It's now at 55 already. I'm going to leave it here. Don't want the top to dry out, so we'll just put some foil on that. We'll stick a tea towel on top of that, just to give it a little bit of insulation, and we'll come back to that when the alarm goes off and it reaches target temperature. We'll whip it out the pan, and we'll carve it up. There we go. So this will continue to carry on warming through. So We are still at 59 degrees now. So that's a perfect temperature for a nice medium rare. So I'm going to cut into this now. So if you want to come in nice and close, mind the hot pan there. So there you go. Look at that. Beautifully succulent, lovely, medium rare ribeye. Absolutely delicious. Let me try a little bit of that. So it's got that lovely umami flavour on the outside. It's beautifully soft, lovely intense flavour of that wonderful steak. And I would say if anyone's going to be cooking steak, this is the way to do it. You know, you've got a nice expensive cut of meat here. Just taking off that extra bit of moisture by air drying it for 14 days and then allowing it to equalise for another 14 days in the fridge. You get that 28-day age. It doesn't dry out completely. You have to trim a little bit off the outside to give you the final sort of meat that you want before you actually stick it in the pan. But there we go. That's ready to eat and it tastes delicious.